Je crois qu'on va avoir un visiteur dans
I think we're going to have a visitor in a few minutes' time.
Mesdames et messieurs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Depp.
Et donc j'ai perdu le fil,
I
excusez-moi.
forgot what I was saying. You said that Zamora was very much in love with her. He certainly loved her very much when he was governor, and then he rejected her. And unfortunately, he took his revenge, and he died of cold and hunger, having taught French, which proves that what Jeanne did for him really served him throughout his life.
You just arrived. I just wanted to ask you the question I asked everybody at the beginning of the press conf. The emotion yesterday after the screening was very touching images to watch. What was the feeling? Just very simply, what was the feeling after the screening yesterday and this standing ovation?
For a couple of seconds, it sort of scared me because it felt like we were stuck in a loop. You know, when we were standing, and the applause and the reaction from the audience, just the energy of their reaction was, yeah, it just seemed to go. It just seemed to go on, and I was, yeah, you know, you become like a kind of a, because we're all sort of mommies and daddies of the film in a weird way. My win, of course, this is her baby, but proud. I was very proud to see the comeuppance of the result of good work. I haven't seen the thing, but I know it's good because they said so. And I trust them.
All right, on va prendre une question.
Surprised to be chosen for this role, and how was it to shoot in French? Was it difficult for you?
Was I surprised? Yeah, I thought someone had there was a terrible misspelling somewhere. And my win and I ended up in the wrong room at the same time. I mean, I didn't feel any hesitation with regard to the character and all that. Or the language necessarily, I didn't find particularly intimidating. You know, a bit of a, you know, it's a bit like running through the raindrops. But my question to my when we first met was, maybe you want to try a French guy as King, you know, Louis, you know, as Louis XV. She thought about it for a second. She said, I thought about that too. Nah, I want you to do it. So I thought it was very brave of her to choose some hillbilly from Kentucky to play Louis XV. Very brave. So yeah, I was instantly, I mean, up for it, wanted to do it. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, I don't know, stepping out of my box and into someone else's, you know, getting into other people's things, culture, thoughts, weirdness. But I'm glad she persisted, and I'm glad I persisted. And the experience of doing the film in French was, I wanted at least to be my pidgin French, at least I wanted it to be in some regard. I wanted to be able to improvise if necessary. So that was again, you know, you're way outside your language, your vernacular, and your way of expressing yourself. But yeah, it was. She was very patient with me. I'll put it that way.
All right, we have a question over there.
Mr. Depp, on your right.
Hi.
Anthony D'Alessandro from Deadline Hollywood. You had bravo on the film. You had mentioned in an interview in the Sunday Times back in 2021 that you felt boycotted by Hollywood. Do you still feel that? Do you feel that the tide is changing toward you doing major studio films again?
It's not my tide that we're discussing. Did I feel boycotted by Hollywood? Well, I mean, you'd have to not have a pulse to feel at that point, to feel like, no, none of this is happening. This is actually just a kind of a weird joke. You've been asleep for 35 years. So just let the weirdness commence. Of course, you know, I mean, when you're asked to resign from a film you're doing because of something that is merely a bunch of kind of vowels and consonants floating in the air, yeah, you feel a bit boycotted. Do I feel boycotted now? No, not at all. But I don't feel boycotted by Hollywood because I don't think about it. I don't think about Hollywood. I don't have much further need for Hollywood myself. I don't know how you guys feel, but yeah, I think it's a very strange, funny time where everybody would love to be able to be themselves, but they can't because they must fall in line with the person in front of them. You want to live that kind of life? I wish you the best. I'll be on the other side somewhere, you know.
Question.
Thanks.
Oui, bonjour. Cathy Melaine de la RTBF, Radio-Télévision Belge.
Belgian
I'm going to ask
Radio
my
and
question
TV.
in English because it's for Johnny Depp. Hello. But Maïwen, if you want to answer, n'hésitez pas si vous voulez répondre. Johnny, we know that Cannes is a wonderful place for movies, but it's also a great mediatic circus. So how do you feel coming here, coming back on the spotlight, a lot of controversy, not especially talking about the movie. How both do you feel with that sometimes toxic surrounding? Thank you.
What do I say now?
About the circus in Cannes.
I mean, I first came to Cannes, it was like 92 or something. I came to Cannes accidentally, to the festival accidentally with Emir Kusturica, and it was absolutely a circus like nothing I'd ever seen. It remains the same, and I think that's very good. Different faces, same actions, same everything. And so the circus part is the weirdest part, because it's sort of like you say, you know, folks out there want to, well, I mean, you believe what you believe. The truth is the truth, you know. As far as it being a positive or a negative to the film, all the sort of abstract whispers, you know, but all that does is it. Maybe people talk about the film in this way, or they will talk about your work in a certain way, up to a certain point. But the fact is, like, we're all here because we made a film, not because we have a product to sell, but we made a film. Everything that the majority of you who've been reading for the last 5 or 6 years have been reading, I mean, with regard to me and my life, the majority of what you've read is fantastically, horrifically written fiction. So the fact is, as I was saying, we're here to talk about a film, but, you know, it's like asking a question. How are you doing? But what's underneath in the subtext is, God, I hate you. Do you know what I mean? So that's the sort of media thing. But the focus should be simply on the fact that it's a miracle to get a film made that you care about in the first place. So you succeed there, you win right there. But to get a film like this made, and with the caliber of people and the vision of a absolutely, you know, a forward-moving artist, that's the focus. That should be the real focus. All the stuff that you can stuff your shoes with, you know, or line your parrot cage with. I mean, it's boring, isn't it? Are you guys sick of it by now? It's weird. $100,000 bird sings unrecorded Beatles songs. You'll get it later, I promise.
All right, we got a question in the center over there.
Hello, Florence Angeles from W Radio in Colombia. Tout d'abord, merci beaucoup pour les films.
Thank you very much for the film.
And a question for Johnny. How did you prepare this character? You speak perfectly French with a good accent. I saw Louis XV with you yesterday, and I imagine that it's not so easy to put yourself in the shoes of the King of France, being a not French guy. Thank you.
What was the original part of the question? I'm sorry.
How did you prepare for the film?
Well, I knew that the first thing to focus on was most assuredly language, pronunciation, not the sort of, you know, you can't use certain phrases that you'd love to use, like le cul bord des nouilles. Doesn't really work coming out of Louis XV's mouth, though I'm sure it did. But so yeah, it was really just trying to be as precise as possible and focused as possible. And I had an amazing French coach, Mathilde, who was fiery and mean and abused me. I'm kidding. No, she's a wonderful French teacher, and she was there, and she was diligent, and she made me stretch my mouth in weird places. But I still like her. She's wonderful, and also, I mean, you know, for them, all the, you know, this is their native tongue. Me, I'm you know, sort of flapping around and hoping that the next word will come out in some form of French. It was fun, you know, because yeah, I had a lot of help, and mainly they felt sorry for me and just do a couple of takes and send me to my trailer. I'd cry, I'd lay there and weep for hours. No, yeah, no, I had a very good teacher, and I had a lot of patient actors and crew.
But we didn't have much text together, so everything had to be portrayed in the way we looked at each other. So we had great pleasure working together, and Johnny helped me no end, and he said to me, well, come on, let's work together, and we'll propose to Maïwenn that we edit this or add that. And I very quickly felt extremely at ease. I know it really bore results, and very quickly we established this complicity in our work. I was deeply impressed when it came to the French language. It's very difficult to pronounce the French R, and he managed it right away, and he really looked like a king. I was quickly reassured and thought, no, it's going to be very believable indeed. It's going to be fine.
Hi, this is Matt Donnelly from Variety. Mr. Depp, related to what you said earlier, there has been a bit of controversy about your presence here in Cannes regarding your past legal matters, personal legal matters. What would you say to those who think you should not have been here at the festival?
So we're talking theoretically about what would I do if there were people who didn't want me to come to the Cannes Film Festival? What if one day they did not allow me, under no circumstances, no matter what, I cannot go to McDonald's for life? Because somewhere, if you got them all in one room, there'd be 39 angry people watching me eat a Big Mac on a loop. Just for fun. Who are they? Why do they care? Some species, some tower of mashed potatoes covering the light of a computer screen, anonymous, with apparently a lot of spare time. I don't think I'm the one who should be worried. I think people should really think about what it's all about, really.
Okay. We're going to
Get
another.
No.
Another one. Yeah.
So hello, my name is Yael Khan. I'm a French journalist. So for Johnny Depp, you have been recently exposed on the international stage.
I was exposed this morning. To myself, of course.
And I want to know what's your mindset getting back of acting? Do you approach it any differently as before? And also, I have another question.
I laugh more.
No, just one question. Yes.
Oh.
No, I mean, it's weird. People have seen or heard the word comeback exchanged by folks, and using that as the sort of catchphrase of, the guy's, he's making a comeback, or he's made a comeback. And after whatever experiences, not only myself, but other people have experienced, whatever anybody's been through over the COVID years, over the this or the that, and suddenly the film comes to the Cannes Film Festival, and then this wonderful new word. By the way, I've had about 17 comebacks, apparently. I keep wondering about the word comeback because I didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, I live about 45 minutes away. So, yeah, maybe people stopped calling out of whatever their fear was at the time. But no, I didn't go nowhere. I've been sitting around. So comeback is sort of like, it's almost like I'm going to come out and do a tap dance or some kind of, spectacle here on the table and, dance my best for you guys and hope that you approve. That's the notion of something like that is a bizarre mystery.
One last question. We only have time for one question.
Fine.
Oui. Yeah. Stand up.
Hi, I'm Alessandra Tommasi from Italian newspaper Leggo, and I was wondering about the movie. Do you think, Johnny Depp, do you think that the situation that the king lives in, like this kind of attention, the hierarchy, it's more or less like the celebrity status when everyone wants something for you, and on top it's very lonely, and we can see this king that's lonely and kind of betrayed by the daughters as well. I mean, how do you see the comparison? Do you relate to that? Thank you.
La question, c'est voyez-vous la comparaison entre être roi et être star, et comment ça se rejoint au niveau de la vie du roi à l'époque et les stars? C'est pour Johnny Depp.
I think, you know, I would think that pretty much anybody could make a similar kind of personal comparison. That is to say, you can apply your own experiences to anything and everything that you do. And I didn't, what I felt was most important about the character, just for foundationally, just was the very idea that first you need to figure out a way that the viewer can forget who you are and can forget all the baggage you carry within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the film. That's your biggest hope, is that you say forget completely who you are. If you got there, you got good through. You did all right for a minute. But also thinking about a character in terms of the various people he has to be. Being the king, he's got to have 7, 8 different personalities in terms of who he deals with, how he deals with him. So I thought it was an interesting study in what a young boy was, when he was made king at such a young age, and this vernacular and this language that he's like, he will speak with Laborde very differently than he would speak with any other character. Laborde and he is very close, so that would be a very tight thing. With Maïwenne's character, with Jean Devary, again, it's another approach, it's another slice of the king, because he's had to sort of pie himself to maintain sort of sanity, I suppose, and distance and respect. So that was kind of foundationally the most important. And I hope the French worked. If it doesn't, you can always play it backwards and it'll say something else. That's what they tell me, I don't know.
Une dernière chose à vous dire, one last thing. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Merci beaucoup.